Welcome back to Team SWARTZ. Today I have a guest on my show. Welcome to the YouTube channel. Private First Class Solis. She just came back recently from training, who is a 92 Yankee supply specialist out of a combat engineering company here in Manhattan in the New York Army National Guard. On this channel, I talk a lot about basic training, giving my personal insights and tips about basic training, Army as a whole, specifically the Army National Guard. And today I'm going to be discussing various subjects on things that Private Solis experienced in basic training and AIT. I think she's going to add a lot of value to those who are about to go to training on her personal experiences and insights and tips that she has for you who are about to go to training. So let's get right into it. Private Solis, let's start out with why you joined the Army National Guard.
So for me, it was unexpected. Like, I didn't plan it. I came from Panama all the way here to college, and I didn't even know what the National Guard was. I just went to college and I saw them there. It was like a specialist and a cadet. And I just went there to ask, what is this? I knew they were Army. They were like, whatever you want to know, just come tomorrow to the office and we'll answer all your questions. But I came the next day and learned everything from zero. I knew nothing about this. I always was interested in the military, and I'm American, so it was not hard for me to join. I joined because I'm studying criminology, so it's definitely good for your career. It's going to help you for my future, for my goals that I want to reach. And also, it comes with a lot of benefits. And the military, like, it not only with the benefits or your career or your school, like in life, it helps you with everything. Like right now, I don't regret it. I've been here for only like 9 months or 8, and I've done so much thanks to the military.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you're going to a criminal justice college, which is setting you up for your future, and this is going to give you that competitive edge when applying for future law enforcement agencies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it separates you from like everyone else who just graduated college, and you now have military experience, and when people see that, it stands out.
You went to basic training at what location?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
So whether you go Army, active duty, Army Reserve, Army National Guard, we all get the same training because we are all part of the Army. The Army National Guard is state specific, so each state and U.S. territory has its own National Guard. So in addition to preparing, or training rather, on a part-time basis, just like the reserves, training for anything overseas, whether it's humanitarian missions, peacekeeping missions, or obviously combat, the National Guard's primary mission and role is to assist our states in times of need for, let's say, state emergencies like 9/11, natural disasters like hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, flash floods, things of that nature. Homeland security, at least here in the New York City area out of New York, any type of civil unrests, things of that nature. So we react and respond to things of that nature as part of being the National Guard. So our soldiers are full-time citizens and part-time soldiers so that they can live their life how they see fit for their reasons and stuff like that, while serving part-time and having all the same great benefits as being part of the active duty military. Basic training is 10 weeks worth of training that's going to transition you from being a civilian into a soldier, learning basic infantry skills and overall general Army knowledge, and then you're going to move on to your advanced individual training, which is your job-specific training, whatever it is that you sign up to do. And in her case, she signed up to be a 92 Yankee, which is a supply specialist. So we're actually going to talk to her about AIT life and stuff like that, and what her experience is now versus what my experience was 17 years ago. Way different. So getting right into it, keeping it light, what was your favorite MRE, your meal ready to eat?
Oh, okay. So all the vegetarian ones, they have the best snacks because they have to like make up for the protein that you're missing in the meal. The other ones, the ones that have meat, well, they're not bad. You just have to heat it up, and you don't have time to heat it up. Then if you have to eat the MRE cold, which is most of the times, then it's gonna be bad. So the vegetarian ones get those. But a lot of people, they claim themselves as vegetarians and they have to get it. So they just leave you with the ones with meat. So.
They're actually coming out with a pizza version soon.
Oh yeah, I heard.
In basic training, how were the chow hall procedures? Like, how long did you have to eat and all that good stuff?
So you're supposed to only get 15 minutes, but we would usually get like 10 or 12, because you would come in, everyone, I'm 4th platoon, so there's 4 platoons per company, so that's like something I didn't get until I went there. But I was like the last one. We would rotate. Most of the time I was the last platoon to go in and eat. So we're just standing there in formation. Everyone's going in, just filing into the chow hall. With the trails, you're just sidestepping, just looking forward, telling them what do you want to eat, but you can only get like one kind of meat, like 2 sides, and stuff like that. And then you just sidestepping all the way to the table, and then when you go there, you just sit. Some other companies, they would wait for the whole row to be filled, and then they would sit down and eat at the same time. For us, it was only we would sit and start eating, but then after they would count, and then after 10 minutes or 15, they would start filing us out. We only had 30 minutes for the whole company to eat. So if we were late to the chow hall, it didn't matter, we would be out there at 30 minutes. And we only were supposed to get 15, but we were always late or last ones to eat.
They have approximately 15 minutes to eat, and that's including the time period of traveling into the chow hall and getting to your seat, sitting, eating, and then getting out. So ideally, you have about 5 minutes to actually eat. So
and it's just you eat everything, you just mix all the food, all the taste come in your mouth, and then 1 cup of water and 1 cup of juice or any Gatorade.
Right, so when the last person sits, when that person's done eating and the drill sergeant's all over them to make sure they eat really, really fast, when that last person who sits is done eating, that's it, you're all done, right?
Yeah, that too.
And in my experience,
that
we couldn't even use a fork.
Oh, I heard that. Well, in my company, we could, but in the same battalion, everything was different in different companies. Once on a Sunday that we are mixed up with other companies because we're going to church or whatever, I was sitting down and there was 2 people from other company in front of me, and they were whispering they're allowed to have forks and knives, and I was like, yeah, you're not.
We weren't allowed. They said just shovel it in. You don't have time to taste it.
Yeah, but I only ate with a spoon most of the times because you're just eating, you're just worried about eating and you're starving.
Exactly.
Because that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You don't get any snacks, you don't get anything else. So in between,
So unlike here on your civilian life, you can snack all day long. In basic training or even in AIT, you're not going to be able to snack throughout the day. So you only have your main meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it also controls the calorie count for the day for you. So if you're overweight or have trouble with weight, you're automatically going to lose weight due to the calorie deficit of your normal caloric intake for that day.
Yeah, and you burn so many calories that you're going to lose a lot of weight. People that are overweight, they lose a lot of weight, but people that, like me, that we were very skinny and lightweight, we gain a lot of weight because we gain muscle. And I used to eat a lot. The drill sergeants would come and see my plate, and they would call each other look at this, this is a lot of, when I first know, they were this is a lot of shit here, everyone look at this. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I just don't want to lose weight. But
Yeah. And how is sugar outside of Gatorade, which is new because we didn't have or use Gatorade when I went through training?
Yeah, it was not Gatorade, it was Powerade, but still it's the same thing.
Okay.
No, we could eat sugar. There was people that just put sugar all over their plates, and everything, pasta. Everyone does their own thing, but I
so
think
you could have cake and ice cream and stuff like that.
Other companies couldn't have any cake or any snacks in their MREs, the candy. We could.
So is drill sergeant specific or company or platoon specific? I know in my experience we couldn't have sugar, not even to include Jell-O, and we could only have milk in the morning. So everyone's experience is going to vary. she was fortunate enough to be able to consume products that had sugar in it, like cakes and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Not only like depending on where you go, like for Jackson it's like this, or for Benning or the other two ones. Like it's not about the base you go to. It's depending on your battalion and your company. Like everything is so different how the drill sergeants do it. So don't believe what everyone says like, oh, in Fort Jackson it's like that, because there's so many different experiences in Fort Jackson that you'll just see whenever you get there.
And that's what I express to people all the time. So everyone follows the same curriculum, so everyone gets the same exact training, but how those drill sergeants deliver that training is how your personal experience is going to vary. And even if we're in the same platoon together, experiencing the same things, it's all about your mindset. So if you're a weak-minded person or easily skittish or nervous, you're probably going to have in your mind a harder experience versus someone who's mentally strong or stronger than you, and it may seem a little bit easier on them. Or they may be physically more fit than you, and you might physically struggle because you waited until you got there to get in shape. So again, everyone's experience is going to vary based on your mindset, your physical capabilities, things of that nature, as she just discussed. Can you explain to everyone what fire guard is and CQ?
Yeah, I had no idea what this was until there. I thought we would have 8 hours of sleep every day. I mean, I know we would be sleep deprived, but not like this. And I went there and they're like, yeah, fire guard, even in reception you have to do fire guard. Like, you just wake up in the middle of the night from 1 hour to another, or 2 hours, it always changes. And then you have to, well, everyone else is sleeping, so you're with someone else, or you could be 4 or sometimes 8. Just cleaning the room, the bathroom. Every hour has different duties. But you would have to wake up, you're sleeping in PTs, but you would have to wake up earlier, like 15 minutes early or 30 minutes, I don't remember, just to get in OCPs.
However long you would need to change into the proper uniform.
So you're in PTs and you have to go all the way to the bathroom. It's a big bay, so you have to go all the way to the bathroom and change, come back, start your duty. When you're done, go change in PTs. A lot of people would just hide in their lockers and change there, but then any drill sergeant could come in, any first sergeant, they would see them and they would get canceled, or they would smoke everyone else just because that person was changing. Or if you're not in proper, you're in the middle of the night, so you're like, they're not gonna see that I have PT shirt here or that I'm not in the proper uniform. Nope, they would come in, they would see, they would check everything, your socks, your shirt.
Drill sergeants will always do on-the-spot inspections.
Yeah, so you would get smoked, and not only you, like everyone else was sleeping with the lights off. They would turn the lights on, they would wake everyone up, start smoking you in the middle of the night, and just because that person messed up. And you don't even know what you're doing wrong until like after every smoke session. Like you would have duty and you would think, oh, I'm doing this, it's gonna be all right, but then they would come, they would find a reason to just smoke you, and then next time you wouldn't do that, but then they would find another reason to smoke you. Like there's different duties per fire guard, like making sure that the lockers are secured. If your locker is not secured, then if they come in and they see that it's not secured, they would open it, throw everything on the floor, which I heard that it's not allowed to anymore, but they still do it.
Drill sergeants will be drill sergeants.
They will do it. So they throw everything to the floor, and or give you some time to, like, we didn't have our lockers locks secured, like our drawers, our personal drawers, because we didn't know that had to be secured too. We only thought our wall locks. And that was in my duty once. And they came in. We had all the wall locks secured except the personal drawers. And they would start getting all those lockers out, all those locks out, and start putting it in different camel bags. And they were like, okay, fine. Every lock is the same. They look the same, different combinations though. So they were like, you have 5 minutes to get your lock. They would put all the camel bags in the middle of the bay, and they were like, you have 5 minutes to find your lock and go back to sleep. And we're like, what? Everyone yelling their combinations, everyone trying the same combinations in different locks, and we're like, we didn't know. Nobody knew. Like, you don't know what are you supposed to not do, because there's so many things that you're not supposed to do,
Mhm.
or that you are supposed to do, but you just know the basics, so you just learn after every mistake. So it's like that night, and then the day after, you're just like in the middle of formation when the drill sergeants are not there talking about it, like, we just got smoked like for 2 hours yesterday, and the males laughing, or they were like, yeah, we got smoked too in the bay.
So to recap, fire guard is for accountability and safety reasons. So back in the day, they would just, make sure that if there was any fires or emergencies, their job is to wake everyone up and get them to safety. And in basic training or in a training environment, they make sure that you go bunk to bunk, make sure everyone's where they're supposed to be. Wall lockers are secured. And you might have additional tasks depending on how you guys as students decide to do like laundry or barracks maintenance, because you're going to quickly learn that you can't do everything first thing in the morning after you wake up, because everyone's going to be doing personal hygiene, using the latrines or bathrooms. So you have to be able to sweep, mop, take out the trash, dust, and make your bunk super tight, everything's dress right dress, and that takes time. So eventually you guys are going to learn how to make sure that you sweep and mop at night to get the big things done, so in the morning you just have to spot check certain things. CQ is a duty that you'll be sitting downstairs outside of the drill sergeant office, usually in the main entrance area, and your job is to answer the phone call and properly address people who enter the building and notify the drill sergeant on CQ duty as well, or staff duty, of anything that they need to be aware of.
Yeah, in basic training, our fire guard was in the bay, like per bay. It was 4, or I think we had 8 when we did something wrong. They were like, now you're gonna have 8. Sometimes we had in full gear, like ACH on, which is the helmet, vest on, and it was really hot. So, but it was just because we were getting smoked. So they just told us to be in our full gear. That was in the bay, but in AIT you had to be like downstairs in an office, like outside of the office, and still the same duties. Like you still have to clean, and they come in and make sure that you're doing your duty, that you're not sleeping. If they caught you sleeping, then another smoke session.
Don't ever get caught for sleeping.
No.
They will
People
make you
still do
an
it,
example and smoke you. So she used the word smoke, and I just use it. So smoking in that military means basically disciplinary PT or corrective training, where they make you do a lot of push-ups and other various exercises, sometimes excessively, to punish you for not listening or doing the right thing, especially when no one's looking. So talk to me about student leadership and what positions you've actually performed.
Okay, so you could be a squad leader, which is the first people that are in the formation, the ones who like do all the facing movements, so to lead the formation when you march off. But you also have to be aware of how many people are in your squad, and if they're all present, to give accountability to the drill sergeant. So the first day I got in basic training, I was the shortest in my platoon. So just by that, he was like the 4 shortest people. We were gonna be the first ones in the formation, and we had to learn. We were there in front of everyone, just learning how to do some movements, just trying. And I was all like, this is my first day, this is too much, everyone's just watching, and I had to like learn everything and not mess up, because they yell at you. Mm-hmm. And just because I was short, like I just had to be in the formation. But it was fun. I was the first one the whole basic training, so I was good at marching. And then platoon guide is another leadership that you get in whiteface, so it's like on the 4th week. And the drill sergeant chooses 2 platoon guides. They're the ones who are going to stand in front of the formation. They're the ones who say, platoon, attention, or count everyone. They're the ones who talk directly to the drill sergeant. And they pretty much just are like kind of the drill sergeant role in the formation, while the drill sergeant is not there. And everything that the drill sergeant tells them to do, everyone has to follow. So I was platoon guide we would switch every 2 weeks. So I was for 2 weeks, and it was like the last 2 weeks. So it was not bad. Like some people had to be platoon guides when we went to the field, or when we had to Ruck March a lot, and everyone has to listen to you. That's another thing that people are, I don't know, you have to know how to address them to make them listen to you.
Exactly. So in the Army, we have formations. Formations is a group of people or soldiers and we line everyone up dress by dress, one, standing directly behind people with 4 rows. Each row is called a squad. She was a squad leader for a certain amount of time, and then the platoon guide, which is the platoon sergeant's position, which in this case in a training environment would be the drill sergeant. So you're essentially the liaison for communicating between your platoon and the drill sergeant. So the drill sergeant will come to the platoon guide, give them a task or a detail or whatever needs to get done, and then it's the platoon guys to talk to the squad leaders and the rest of the platoon. Hey, listen, guys, girls, whatever, soldiers, we need to get this done. Da 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 da. So it's very, very stressful. I mean, you're already stressed in itself for being in a training environment, but in addition to that, being assigned a student leadership position adds more pressure on you to perform. And people don't like authority in general, and sometimes they don't like the way the drill sergeants talk to them. So now they have a peer, which is your platoon guide or your squad leader, telling you what to do, and it's like, mother flower, we're the same. You're just a student. Don't tell me what to do. So it's hard for people to separate themselves from what they're doing and focus on what needs to get done, and sometimes they just make things unnecessarily personal.
Yeah, I mean, you know how to talk. You need to know how to talk to people, because there's a lot of soldiers that just go there and think that they're the drill sergeant already, and that no one likes that. So if you weren't gonna be a leader, you have to know how to tell them what to do in the right way.
Right. So one of the Army values is called respect. And when you're in charge of people, some people, when they get into a leadership position, they're like bossy, right? Do what I tell you to do, and that's it. And they don't care how that message is delivered. So, like she says, if you respect people and you talk to them with respect, like another human being, they'll listen to you and they'll be more willing to do whatever it is that you're asking them to do or telling them to do. So yes, that's sometimes a challenge as a leader, right?
Yeah, but like I got along with most of the people in my platoon, like everyone. I didn't have any issues with anyone. So when I was PG, which is platoon guide, I didn't have any troubles with that. But there was other platoon guides that people didn't like before they were in leadership positions. So now they're the leader. So it's like, I'm not listening to that person. Mm-hmm. And they would be really rude to them, or be late to formation, and you're the one who has to have accountability. And then the drill sergeant comes in and he's like, where's this person? And the fault, you have the fault. Like you're the one who's in charge. So you're the one who gets in trouble for that. And it's stressful that people are late to formation, and you already have to stand there and say, where's everyone? If someone is at sick call, you have to know everyone in the formation and where they are. So it's stressful. You just have to.
How was your experience at reception, and did you prefer reception over basic training?
No. Reception was the worst experience, I think, in basic training, because I just got there. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but we didn't get any sleep for 42 hours. We were counting. We were lined up for hours, just getting all our equipment. That's where you get everything issued to you, and just standing there. I didn't know you could fall asleep while standing up. I learned that there. A lot of people are just falling asleep, just standing up. Now you can fall asleep. Like after training, I could fall asleep anywhere, because it's so hard to just stay awake.
You learn to adapt.
Yeah, it was really hard. Because we didn't do anything interesting. We were just there, standing up, doing paperwork, filling up documents, and in training you're at least, even if you're getting smoked or doing stuff, you're always doing stuff, so you're not like that.
Yeah, I hated my experience at reception. I was unfortunately stuck there for 14 days.
14 days.
14 days.
I was there for 4 days, and that was
so
bad.
At the reception battalion, that's basically essentially you're in processing. So you're making sure all your paperwork is correct, your life insurance is straight, you go through another mini medical, you're going through the moment, I think the moment of truth is what they call it, where they talk to you about certain things, and you disclose things and whatever. You get all your equipment, males get their haircuts, and once all that's done, which generally, ideally, is supposed to take no more than 5 business days, not including the weekend, and you move on to your basic training experience. But most locations now, as soon as you get there, which is usually around midnight, give or take a couple hours, you immediately start in processing, and like she said, you're up for the first 36 to 48 hours processing, and there's a lot of hurry up and wait. Right. What she's talking about is just standing around, just waiting. So you have to always be ready to move on to the next station or whatever it is that you're doing to get through the in-processing steps so that you can get to your basic training site so your drill sergeants can receive you and start your training. reception
Yeah.
definitely
So
sucks.
there's so many of us that, and everyone has to do the same thing, and it's a lot to do. So it's a lot of waiting.
So what motivated you to get through basic training? What was your motivation? What was that drive?
The only thing that kept me going was my faith, honestly. Like, I would just pray to God all the time. It was me and God, because I didn't have any of my family. Just letters once in a while. Like, they would write me all the time, but you don't get it every day. So, just me reading the Bible, like, all the time. Like, my faith is really strong, so that was really helpful to me. Other people, just knowing that, oh, I'm gonna see my son, I'm doing this for my family. For me, I knew that my family was gonna come to my graduation, so that too, all the way from my country. So I needed to make it, because then in the end, I needed to graduate, so that was it.
At any point throughout basic training, did you ask yourself, what the did I get myself into?
All the time. All the time. Like, everyone is like, is this what's really worth it? Like, but then you have to remember why you joined, why you signed that contract. The first, like, I did it on February, and then I went on May, and I was like, why did I do it? But I still, like, I know my reasons, and then you stick to those reasons, and then you're gonna make it. You just have to remember. A lot of people, like, just for their families or for college or whatever. A lot of people don't care. They joined, they do all the process, because it's a hell of a process to join the army.
It's not that easy to join. Most get disqualified.
Right, and then you did all that, you went there, and then they quit, and then it's forever in your record, so it's not worth it.
It's a permanent legal record, and anytime you apply for a job, you have to disclose that you've previously served in the military and what type of discharge you received. So,
like, even if you want to quit, that process to quit is also, like, harder. So just stay there. It's easier to just stay there and graduate.
And then come home if you're in the reserves, or go to your permanent duty station. But everyone in basic training is going to have a moment where they question themselves why they are there, and you have to keep in the back of your mind that this is a training environment, and that the rest of your Army military career is not going to be a bunch of drill sergeants screaming and yelling at you, making you do stupid things, and the drill sergeant's going to make you do things that's going to question why they're making you do it. But you have to understand and trust the process, that the drill sergeant is making you do tasks for a specific reason, whether it's combat related, soldiering, whatever. But everything and anything that a drill sergeant asks or tells you to do, they've done it themselves in basic training, learning to be a drill sergeant and doing it as a drill sergeant. So everything they do is for a reason. So just trust the process and trust them, and do whatever it is that they tell you to do.
Yeah, and it helps that you're with, like, everyone there is going through the same stuff as you, so you got each other to motivate yourself and motivate themselves. Yeah, motivate your battle buddies, because they're going through the same thing, and they understand you. So just keep all the negative thoughts. You're gonna have them, but
try to control them.
Yeah, because
Be resilient, as the Army likes to say when we do our resiliency training, right?
Right. When you're done, it's worth it. So
Exactly. It's all worth it. So just remember, like she said, remember your why, and that will motivate you and push you to the end. Overall, how would you describe your basic training experience?
like I said, worth it. Like, it was hard in the moment. You can't wait to. You were doing a countdown. We had a whiteboard, and we would have every day the countdown, and it's like 55 days, 54, and just be patient. But it's worth it. Like, in the end, you're just, wow, I made it. Like, a lot of people, I'm really short, so it's hard to believe that I could make it, and then I did. And it's so worth it that you did this, and a lot of people, mostly like everyone you know, they haven't done it. So it's the fact that you made it and you went to all the training, now you're a soldier, it's like, you can't explain that feeling. So it's really worth it.
What was what was the one obstacle that you overcame in basic training that, like, maybe possibly stands out in your mind?
Oh, Ruck Marches were bad for me. Like,
Okay, because you're short.
because I'm short. Yeah, I didn't even know. Like, I knew we had I knew we had marches, like long marches, but then I didn't know it was with a rucksack on. I didn't know anything about training. I mean, I did from RSP, but it's not, like, I was only for 3 drills, and you don't get to know everything until you get there. So, and those rucksacks on, and in the summer, you get heat rashes everywhere, blisters. That was a challenge for me, and just keep going, and it's hours of just walking, and it's all mental. Like, it's physical, it's really physical, but you can manage the pain like with your mind. So
right, it's all about your mindset.
Yeah.
And the positive self-talk.
And what motivated me was just, I'm gonna graduate. If you don't make it, you don't graduate. If you quit the Ruck March, you don't graduate. So it's just that, like, it's gonna stop eventually. I'm gonna stop eventually, and we're gonna be done with this.
Mm-hmm. So what she's referring to, and I'm glad you brought up the RSP. Ruck Marches are a series of hikes, basically, but we refer to them as Ruck Marches. And you'll start from a 3 kilometer all the way up through a 12 kilometer throughout your 10 weeks of training. And so as you go through training, those Ruck Marches will get longer and longer as you go on. And in those rucksacks, which is basically your backpack, which is really big, has about 45 pounds worth of equipment, not including the weapon, the ammunition if you're carrying that, and any water sources that you're carrying. So that's even more weight added on to what you are already carrying inside the rucksack. So yes, it is physically demanding, and my suggestion to you is that you learn to control your breathing and find a rhythm to your stride to keep up. And if you can work on your rhythm and your stride, you'll be able to ruck march a lot faster and further with more ease. And like she said, keep mentally resilient, keep up with the positive self-talk, and remember your why in the back of your mind to why you're doing it. And the Recruit Sustainment Program is what she was referring to as the RSP. So if you're in the Army National Guard, kind of like the Future Soldier Program that the active Army and the Army Reserves make you guys do on a weekly basis in a non-paid status, we actually pay our soldiers for that drill weekend to come in that Saturday and Sunday to make sure that they are administratively, physically, and mentally ready for basic training. They go through 3 phases. Right phase is a lot of National Guard Bureau kind of dry training, a lot of basic soldiering stuff about like the phonetic alphabet, military time, the soldier's creed, the warrior ethos, general Army knowledge, the history. We learn about sexual harassment awareness reporting procedures called SHARP, talking about possible sexual harassment and assaults and how they affect your career, don't do it and all that crap. We also talk about suicide prevention, things of that nature. So we talk about a lot of the boring stuff in that first weekend. And then white phase is a lot of things that you'll experience throughout basic training, like room clearing procedures, the 3 to 5 second rush, how to read a map, land navigation, basic first aid, radio communications, things like that. And then your last month before you leave, called blue phase, is mentally preparing yourself and explaining and going through everything that you're going to experience throughout basic training. And oftentimes we'll have our soldiers who come back from training, which we refer to as battle handoffs, talk about their experiences, which obviously they just came from, and they share those experiences and address any questions or concerns that the recruits who are about to go, and they discuss those things, making it a little bit mentally a little more easier on them to know what they're going through, but knowing and experiencing it are 2 different things. So just mentally prepare yourself for it, and that's the whole point of the Recruit Sustainment Program. So we have a higher success rate of soldiers going to training, and a lot of the National Guard soldiers who experience RSP actually take on leadership positions and things like that, and they set themselves up for distinguished honor graduate, which she received, Iron Soldier, and things of that nature.
Yeah, only the National Guard people from like any state, they were the ones who knew what they were doing like in the first days, because no one else knows anything about the Army. So it was competition between like National Guard. Like, we were the only ones who knew, and we were prepared. You have to know your soldier's creed before, because then they're gonna make you learn it just in like 2 days, and you don't know it.
And they start testing you as soon as you get there. Hey,
Yeah,
hey
so
private, what time is it? Military time.
Yeah, so.
What rank am I?
Right.
Exactly. What rank are you? And if you don't know it, guess what? Be prepared to get stronger.
Right.
Do you have any embarrassing moments of basic training?
I know I did, but I had a really small watch that I went to. I went to basic training. It was really small, so the drill sergeants would just laugh at it a lot, and they would I would be eating serious, you can't laugh. So, and then they would come to me and they're like, "That's a baby watch," and they would call everyone to see, and I was just eating serious. Like, I would hold my laugh so much, and I was like, "Leave me alone," all the time. Drill sergeant would always be like, "Baby watch." It would be like watch, normal watch, baby watch, normal watch. I was just like eating, like leave me alone. And yeah, a lot of getting smoked in front of people for any reason. Like I remember getting my like 2 battle buddies getting smoked thanks to me because I didn't have my PC on because we were eating and you take your PC off. And they were getting water and I needed water, so I was like, I just went with them, and when we were in the middle of, I think it was like on the road, the drill sergeant was like, drop down, and it was really hot because it was the summer, so doing push-ups and it was really hot. They were like, they wanted to kill me, and I was like, oops. But they were my friends.
PC is
so.
our patrol cap, which we call a hat. So a patrol cap is basically your cover.
Yeah. They were just smoking us. Everyone was just eating, looking at us, laughing. It was whiteface, the end of whiteface. So people are more like, you can laugh. And we were just getting smoked, running, getting smoked, running. They were like, get up, get down. That was.
So she just said it. White phase, you could joke around a little bit. So red phase is your first 3 weeks of training, and that is the hardest on you as the soldier in starting out basic training, because the drill sergeants are there and they're the hardest on you at that time because they really want to set the tone that this is a training environment. You're going to listen to them and you're going to do exactly what they tell you, when to do it and how to do it, whether you like it or not. And they're the crankiest during this time because they're there before you wake up. They're there after you go to lights out at 2200 or 10 o'clock at night. And you know, they're not seeing their family. They're getting home between 11 and midnight, waking up at 3 o'clock, maybe even earlier to get there by 4 o'clock. So they only take cat naps throughout the day. So they're the crankiest at this time. So they're super, super strict. They scream most of the time during this time. And then during white phase, they tend to take their time more to thoroughly explain things because they want you to learn and be successful, and they ease up on you a little bit, but they'll make sure they bring in those reins and discipline you with corrective training if need be. But definitely, you know, continue to respect them and everything. Just survive the first 3 weeks and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
And
although they can change that white face to red face anytime. They can change the white flag to red flag and go back to red face. Like my senior drill sergeant, he came back from training. He was not there the whole red face. He came back on white face because he was in some training. And he would treat us like we were in red face. Only him. So every time he was around, it was red face for us. So it depends on any drill sergeant, I guess. But you'll be fine. White face is weapons, and it's fun.
Weapons is 2 weeks of shooting and cleaning, shooting and cleaning. At the end of those 2 weeks, they'll give you 40 rounds, which are bullets. We don't call them bullets in the Army. Or in the military, we call them rounds. So you got 40 rounds and 40 targets, and you got to hit as many as you can, anywhere from 25 meters out all the way up to 300 meters out. And Fast Friday is what they call the 25-meter one, and they come up and come down real quick, so you want to shoot that one first.
Yeah.
And then the further out they are, the longer they're up, because they're pop-up targets. And you want to strive for expert, and then a step below that is sharpshooter, a step below that is marksman. So, yes, so there are 3 phases of basic training, red, white, and blue. Red being the hardest on you as the warrior in basic training. And just remember, it's not like this for the rest of your military career, so you just have to survive the first 10 weeks. And
it's just 10 weeks.
That's it, just 10 weeks. Nothing more than a coffee break throughout 100 years of your life that you're going to live. All right, it's just a blink of an eye, so just survive.
Just a blink of an eye.
So, were your drill sergeants what you expected?
So like the first 3 weeks that we had one drill sergeant, he was the only one that in the company that was actually like caring. He was really like he would be serious all the time, but he would care for us. So he would teach us and tell us what we were doing wrong and help us. So I was like, oh, I didn't know this could be like that. But then on Whiteface, my other drill sergeant came back, and that's exactly how I thought drill sergeants would be. And he's a ranger, so he was like all different drill sergeant. We would come in, and the other drill sergeants would be like quiet and respected him so much, and he would make our lives miserable, like smoke us for everything, and white face that you're not supposed to like do so much corrective training. He would do it. He would yell at us. He wouldn't even learn our names. So with him, it was like how I imagined drill sergeants would be. Just tough, straight,
yelling at us.
yelling at us all the time, and just not being caring at all.
Right. So like you experience what I share with people all the time is you're generally gonna have 2 to 3 drill sergeants per platoon, and there's always gonna be that one that seems nice, like still strict, but nicer. Like they take their time to explain and mentor and coach you and all that good stuff, and put in that extra effort to transition you from a civilian to a soldier. And then you have the more, what we refer to as the mean drill sergeant, which is really high on PT and disciplinary PT and corrective training, and finds any reason to smoke you, and they feel like sometimes that they're abusing you, which they're not, but
Right.
you know, they just make you stronger, essentially, both mentally and physically.
And if they're a ranger, they're gonna treat you as rangers. So
Yeah, so if they're of a combat related MOS in their background, they tend to be a little more strict and a little more harder on their warriors. But if they're in a support MOS like myself as a 42 Alpha Human Resources or something like that, we tend to be a little more easier on you. Not easier on you, but
yeah.
easier,
Yeah.
sort of, more or less.
Again, different drill sergeants, that's what, like, they help you through it. Like, you learn from each one in their own way, so it doesn't matter how they are. You get these experiences for life. Now, you remember them for what they taught you, so it's a hard job.
And their job is to teach you and make you
Yeah.
combat ready. And that's their purpose, and they take their job extremely serious. And that's it. Just trust the process. If you can remember, during basic training, what was your, like in general, as a female in the female barracks, what was your morning routine like?
So in basic training, we would wake up at 5. There was lights on, and at 5:20 you already had to be in formation, and you had to be early to formation. So you had less than 20 minutes to make your bed. That's the first thing you did. I was in the upper bunk, so I would have to wake up, go down, start making my bed, going to the latrine, which is the bathroom, and we would just brush our teeth, get ready for PT, make our buns. I was really bad making my buns, so it took me forever. And make sure your battle buddy is right, because you have, it's like in pairs that you have to make sure one is squared away, and you too, and then you just go to formation, stand there and wait however when the drill sergeants feel like they're gonna come out. And then you just have to stand there in attention, not moving your eyes or anything. And
She's talking about the formation.
Oh yeah,
So
formation.
she would fall in position of attention.
Yeah, and just wait for a PT. So you had less than 20 minutes, and there's not enough stalls for everyone to go to the bathroom, so you just have to wait for, you could be late thanks to other people, or you just have to decide, okay, I'm not peeing today, like, I don't know. Just brush your teeth, go down, be ready, like, it's hard. And then, you go to formation, you do PT. That takes, I think, an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah, and then you come back, you're there in formation, all sweating because it was summer, it was really bad, so you're just all stinky and musty, and they start telling you it's this time, you have until this time to go up and shower, the personal hygiene, come and be back in this formation at certain time, and they would just file us out. We would have like 20 minutes, but not to shower, just to go up. I was on the 4th floor. We would have to wait for everyone to go, like, filing out. So, and I was 4th platoon, so I had to wait for the first 3 platoons to go in. So in total, I had like 10 minutes to shower and change, so that was not
So
possible.
ideally you have about a minute or 2 to actually shower, then you have to get dressed.
And
spot
to get
check your
dressed like
phone.
this is not easy to just, like, you can just shower before you go to school and just put your clothes and whatever. It takes you like 5 minutes to put this uniform. It's a process, and to make your bun and everything. So most of the females wouldn't even shower in the morning because it was not possible to make it on time to formation. And if everyone's in formation and people are coming in late, they would start smoking everyone. So everyone is getting smoked while everyone is still coming down. Until everyone is down in formation, that's when they, like, stop smoking you or never stop. I don't know. Like, you would just get smoked until they decided to.
You know, so she didn't touch on it, but mandatory wake up or lights on is at 5 a.m. or 0500.
Some people have 4:30, like other battalions or companies. So
Right. So eventually, either on your own, either as the soldiers will mandatory wake everyone up between 04 and 04:30. Just to get ready for the day, because you're not going to have enough time to, again, make your bunk. Females do their hair, males have to shave, be clean shaven for first formation, and be out there at least 10 minutes prior to the time that you're supposed to report there. So it's always showing up 10 minutes earlier to the 10-minute early time frame. So their formation was probably at 05:30, but they wanted everyone to be there by 05:20, right? So, so that's pretty much her routine in the morning. It's no different than the males, except for the males, you have to make sure that you're clean shaven. You'll double up on the sinks. Make sure that you're clean shaven prior to PT formation. And again, your barracks have to be pretty tight, because when you come back from PT to get ready for chow in class, you're not gonna have time to clean it. And if your barracks aren't tight, guess what? They're gonna trash it, right? And or smoke you on top of that for not having everything just right dressed and super clean. So make sure you clean up the barracks. So what are some things that you would like to share with females who are about to go to basic training? Any tips or tricks that you want to share with them or
Just
anything?
know how to make your bun, because I was like, I'm going to practice before training, and I didn't, and then I had to learn there. You have to know how to do it like in 1 minute, 2. Well, everything else, like shaving, you'll get time eventually. So the first day's going to be looking crazy. I've heard about trainings where you don't even get to shave like your legs. My eyebrows were looking crazy all the time, so don't worry about your eyebrows. You're gonna look crazy anyways. What else? Menstrual cycles.
Yeah, touch base on that. How does, like, let's say they're in a lot of pain, how does that work?
Oh, yeah, I'm a person that suffers a lot for like cramps. In training, I think I only had once like really bad cramps, but being in the working out every day helps you to not have. Everybody's different, so I don't know how would that be for them. And I would have my period like regularly, but when I went to training, I only had it I think once or twice, and it like everything changes once you get there, because the stress and the working out a lot and a lot of tension, it's just your body changes. So there's nothing you can do. Like if you have your period, you have your period. And you're gonna know when the other females have it. You have to clean the bathroom and oh man, I've seen some things. But
worst case scenario, you could go on sick call and they can give you some ibuprofen or Tylenol. But try not to go on sick call, because the more training you miss, and if it's something that's considered mandatory training requirement for graduation, you're taking the risk of being recycled to an earlier phase and starting all over with a new group or new platoon. So push through the pain, the cramps and everything. Yes, you're gonna be miserable. Deal with it and just keep trucking.
We just deal with it. That's how we females are. We have that and we still make it. So it's not gonna stop you from making it.
Right. So just be mentally resilient and just deal with it. Now with PT, you can wear ponytails, or they want bun?
Basic training, it's bun. I thought it was, because in the Army you're allowed to have a ponytail once you work out. But no, basic training, it's way different. Then you go to AIT and we were allowed to wear ponytails there, because it's more like the real Army. Basic training, you don't get like to do anything you want or like. It's all
whatever they tell you.
Yeah, so everyone's in a bun. So it's kind of hard to just, so that's why you have to get a good bun, because then you're going to be running, you're going to be sweating a lot, you're going to be looking crazy, and if you don't have your bun right, then the drill sergeants are going to bother you for that, yell at you.
Yeah, your bun's got to look neat, no more than 3 inches from the scalp to the outer edge of your bun, and it's got to be positioned in a way so that when you put on your headgear, your hat, it doesn't interfere with that in addition to that.
Yeah, I had a net when I went, because I thought that was allowed. I didn't know. So the first day I go with my perfect bun, but it was like a net that, I don't know, it was, all the other females were like, wow, that's smart. And I was like, yeah. Then we go there the first day with information, and then the drill sergeant's like, what are you wearing?
WTF, OMG, Pride, what do we have going on up in here, right?
Yelling at me. That was like kind of embarrassing, but I didn't care. I was like, I lost my dignity once I got to basic training, so I didn't care what they were yelling at me. They were making fun of me. They were like, is your MOS a cook? Right now I'm like, no, it's supply. I'm just there with my net. I had to take it off in the middle of formation, and it was all messy, and make my bun in formation. So it was like.
So I know each installation is different, but people often wonder this. I know I did, and that was my only main concern prior to leaving for basic training. Not so much the showers, but more or less the toilets. But because I watched Full Metal Jacket prior to leaving, and in the movie, the toilets are right next to each other with no stalls. So that was like, I was nervous as hell for that.
Yeah,
but with the showers, in my basic training experience, it was an open room with a bunch of shower heads, and you just got to town and washed yourself and got out. So people want to know, where you went, did you have individual stalls, or was it one big open room?
No, we had individual stalls, but with no curtains. So, anyways, it was like everyone was naked in front of each other. So, and you would walk to your stall in line because there's not enough. It was 63 females, and it was like 15 stalls. So you'd have to wait, and most of them, like you only have like 10 minutes to shower and change, maybe, and they don't care about most of them, they don't care about other people, so they're just taking their whole time, and then you have to wait for them, and then that shortens your time, so you end up, so that's why most of them don't even shower, because there's not enough for everyone, and most of them just think about themselves, so there's a lot of people in training like
We have what we call in the military Blue Falcons, which is short for buddy fucker.
Yeah.
All right, so don't be a buddy fucker or a Blue Falcon. Do what you're supposed to and get out. Wash the hot spots, as we call it, and get out. At night, when you shower on your own, then yes, you can take a little bit of extra time. But in the morning, if you're gonna shower, think of your battle buddies, because they're just as grimy as you, and they want to get in and get out. And like she said, you only have 10 minutes to shower and get dressed and be out in formation.
Yeah. That was like that in my training. Like they would give us a general time to be all ready, but in other trainings I've heard, they make sure that you're doing like a 2-minute shower or 1-minute shower. Like the drill sergeant is there making sure that everyone's showering in that amount of time.
And
for
some
us,
people, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, for us it was like just everyone would do what they wanted with that time, and most of them wouldn't even shower.
Some males have expressed to me that they will line up, back to back, naked with their soap, and as they walk through the shower halls, they're washing the hot spots, and by the time they circle around that room with showers, they're done, and that's it. So you only get literally like 30 to 180 seconds to shower and get out. Yeah. So and those are called shower drills. So it depends on the drill sergeant and how they want to get it done. So like that might only happen for the first 3 weeks of basic training, and then they'll leave it up to you to get it done, but still meet it within the time requirement and restraints that they give you.
And that's honestly better, because when they take their time, you don't get to shower, and
because you're just screwing over your battle buddy.
Yeah. So.
And she mentioned battle buddies earlier, and I'm glad that she brought that up. In a training environment, anytime you're deployed, it's for safety reasons, and it protects the other private as well from whatever may happen that's unprofessional. So battle buddies is extremely important, especially when talking to a drill sergeant and stuff like that. Always have your battle buddy with you.
It's like a witness for everything.
Exactly. So don't get caught without your battle buddy, because if not, be
you
prepared
can't talk
to get stronger.
to a drill sergeant or any sergeant without a battle buddy. Where's your battle buddy? And you're like, someone else will come rescue you, do push-ups with you. So. Right.
In basic training, in a basic training environment, when one person messes up, everyone pays for it. One team, one dream. When you move on to AIT, it's more on an individual basis. So if you mess up, then it's just you and your battle buddy that are pushing. And after that, you'll recover much faster than in basic training in most cases, unless you royally mess up.
Sometimes we would get the whole formation, the whole company smoked for one person. But the reason for that is because in the actual, when you get deployed, and if you're in war, you can get messed up for one person. Like you can get killed for that person's mistake. So they do this, so we know that everyone has to do their stuff right, because then everyone can pay for one person's mistake. So that's what they told us it was. Because we were like, why are we paying for everyone else's mistakes? And that's the reason. That's what they told us.
What did you enjoy most about basic training?
It was definitely like my battle buddies. Not all of them, just the closest one. I still talk to them like every day. I met like 4 to 5 really, really good friends that they were like my brothers and sisters. And it was just being with them every day, and in the end you can laugh, like you can have good times there. So just that, it's like a relationship you build with someone that you don't get to do that in the civilian world. So having that was the best thing of training, and just making it to training. But it was the people. It was the people who made the training worth it. Yes.
What I tell people all the time about basic training is, in the moment, it's awesome and amazing, and it might suck. But in the end, when you're standing tall on graduation day and you listen to the guest speaker and you start reflecting back on everything that you've accomplished, all the struggles that you've pushed through and you've made it, and it all of a sudden is, like she said, worth it.
Yeah.
So you just have to stay in the fight, stay focused, stay driven, remember your why, keep pushing, and you'll make it. And drill sergeants, despite how they make you feel, want to see you successful and cross that finish line and become that and earn that title of becoming a soldier.
They want you to get out of there. They don't want to see you no more. And then, because if you stay there, you're going to stay there for more weeks. You're going to go back to reception, be helping in detail, if you're hurt or if you quit or whatever. So, and they have to see you, and they're like, I don't want to see you again. Just leave.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get their job done. So.
Exactly. What was the most challenging training event that you did in basic training, and how did you overcome it? Like, what did you struggle with the hardest?
Yeah, the hardest thing that I still like, well, in basic training it was Ruck Marches, and it was thanks because you can't wear anything that would help you. You have the basic training boots. You can't wear moleskin to prevent blisters. Only when you have the blisters is when they help you if they're really bad. You can't have any spandex under your trousers, and I would get heat rashes, I would get blisters, the low back pain, everything with the rucksack. But then in AIT, I bought new boots, so now the Ruck Marches were better. Now you can, in the real army, you can like wear a lot of stuff that is gonna help you. But in basic training, you're just stuck with whatever they give you.
Standard issue equipment, which sometimes often is very uncomfortable.
And they don't let you wear extra stuff that might help you. So
you can cheat a little bit by putting your dress sock underneath your normal sock
but I did
lessen the resistance.
I did everything.
But if you don't change your socks and they become wet, then
Yeah.
it doesn't slide, which helps prevent the blisters.
Yeah, and we would Ruck March everywhere. In total, we did more than 45 miles of Ruck Marching. So that's where like it would just happen. No matter what I did, I would get all the blisters, and they would just get worse. But then, and the heat rashes, because it's summer, within the thighs, and you just walk and it's so painful. But then I realized you wear your PT shorts. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't want to wear it because it was so hot, and there's people like passing out and stuff, so I didn't want to wear extra clothing. But then in AIT, I wore my PT shorts under my pants, and that was the best decision ever. So do that if you're in the summer, because you won't get any heat rash in your thighs.
Yeah, so with your PT shorts has built-in short underwears, or like underwear that's made into shorts.
Yeah.
And
It's like a spandex,
yeah, it's like a spandex, and just lessens the friction between the pants that you're wearing and what you have underneath, and it
So
just
it's nothing
helps
worse than
prevent rashes.
the heat rash, because it's so painful.
How did your parents cope with you being away?
For most of people that are there, this is their first time leaving home, and they are just away for training. But I was already away from my family because I came here. I transferred to college, and I was already away. But then I was supposed to go back on May because it was summer, and I joined. So I didn't go back. I was from school to basic training, so I was already away. Just that I haven't been home since I haven't come back. I haven't come back until I'm gonna go back for Christmas. But the thing is that my parents they were supporting. My dad was kind of like confused, like what was going on. But my mom is like so proud. Like, since I'm not from here, not everyone gets to do this back home. Everyone is so excited for me, and they were really supporting. But I was already away, and they just wanted me to make it.
And they sent you a lot of letters, which helped motivate you.
Yeah, I was one of the people that got like most letters, and it's from family in Panama. So it's just make your family, your friends send you a lot of letters, because that's what when you hear your name when they're giving letters out, that's the best feeling ever.
So many of you will be struggling with homesickness, and this is one way to help alleviate that homesickness, make you feel a little bit better. And so mail call,
Yeah.
Definitely worth hearing your name.
All right. And
Makes
you
you
don't
feel
know
better.
anything that's going on out there. That's the only way to know.
What were some of the thoughts that you were thinking about on graduation day when you were listening to the guest speaker and stuff? Like, what are some of the things that you were thinking about?
I think that was the best day of my life. Like, I don't know. That was the best feeling ever. Just standing there, formation. You can't believe you made it. It's like, can breathe. Then you think you're done, but then you go to AIT and you're like, whoa, again. All these weeks again. Like, you feel like you're done. You're just done in basic training, but you're not. But it's still like I feel like it was the best day of my life because it's satisfaction. You can't explain it.
You pretty much go through hell, and
And then make it
and
on
then-
time.
Yep, exactly. And then
Without getting
and then you
hurt.
graduate, and you move on to bigger and better things.
And then you have gone all those 10 weeks with no phone, which is good. It's like a detox, but now you're gonna be out there again, and it's like I'm gonna be back to me. I'm gonna see what's going on out there. So it's mixed feelings. You're not gonna see your battle buddies again, but you're still so happy that you just want to get out
Exactly.
eventually.
Roll with the punches, trust the process with the drill sergeants, respect everyone, especially the drill sergeants. Remember that the drill sergeant's always right. Show up on time, be in the correct uniform, do your best, have fun, make friends,
Yeah.
make the best of it, you know? And just remember, keep in the back of your mind that this is only a training environment. The rest of your military career is not gonna be like this. So strive for excellence, do your best, forget the rest, have fun. Thank you so much, Private Solis, for coming in and
Thank you,
sharing
Solis.
some of your insights and tips of basic training and sharing your experiences. As a token of my appreciation, I have an American flag for you. So
Oh.
hopefully you like this.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sergeant. I really appreciate it.
Very welcome. And just so you know, she was an honor graduate in AIT and Iron Soldier, so she was Army strong. Or in this case, Guard strong.
God strong.
Hashtag just saying, go guard or go home. Welcome to my channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the comments down below with any questions you have about basic training. Myself and her will eventually reach out to you and answer those questions. So thank you so much. Stay tuned, and I got more for you coming. Thank you.
Cool.
All right, man. I appreciate it.